the timeless hopes of dreams.
Hi, welcome to Color Me Poetry. I'm poet Danny Queen. Welcome to another edition of Color Me Poetry. And today we have a wonderful sister here, and she's the author of the highest order, and in the person of Melinda Robinson. And I heard her books are just really, really wonderful. Welcome, Sister Melinda.
Thank you, Danny. How are you today?
Good. I'm looking at your book here, Above Ground, the Above Ground Railroad.
Yes.
Now that's an interesting title.
Yes. Well, I came up with the Above Ground Railroad because I thought about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, and we all know what that represented, how she freed slaves and stuff like that. And so the Above Ground Railroad is on the same lines of slavery, but it's nothing hidden about it. It's like it's right here in your face. It's above ground, and I'm talking about the criminal justice system when it comes to a black man in America.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you that title? I mean, did that title just come to? How did it come to you? It just came. The Lord just say, "I got something you want to say."
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because when I was thinking about writing, once it was revealed to me to write about the injustice that I've been facing with my son.
Wow.
I was in bed and I woke up and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning and it was gut wrenching and it was like the Above Ground Railroad, and I started thinking and I'm like, yeah, so, and then it all came together.
Well, and this cover, I mean, this cover kind of says it all, really. It really does. Who did the cover?
Monica Stanley, this young sister that's doing incredible things.
So you gave her the concept and she put it all together?
Yes, absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely.
Now, what made you write a book like this? You talk about the criminal justice system and how we're treated in the criminal justice system. Now, this is an issue that not a whole lot of people talk about in depth.
Right. It's very personal for me because my son was in his third year of college when he was wrongfully accused of the murder of a student during a brawl on the campus of a HBCU school in Baltimore, and he was wrongfully accused, and the state conspired to charge him, although they had no DNA linking him to the crime at all, and so. It was very personal for me because I had no idea that the criminal justice system is as corrupt as it is. So it's my personal experience, and I know God is using me to speak on behalf of other mothers because our sons are being kidnapped and held hostage in this criminal justice system.
I call it the criminals justice system.
Right, because it is. It is. Because
it is what it is.
Because they make the laws, but they also break the laws.
Yeah.
So it's important because there are a lot of single mothers like me whose sons have been wrongfully accused of crimes and
all over the country.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is, one thing I've learned, Danny, is that for a black man in America, he is guilty until proven innocent, and even after he's proven innocent, they will still make him guilty.
That's what it's designed to do.
Right,
that's what it's always been designed to do.
Absolutely. And it's to fill these for-profit prisons that a lot of these organizations are using, like Starbucks, Macy's, Wendy's, McDonald's, you name them. These million-dollar corporations are part of this for-profit prison where these inmates are being paid as little as 44 cents a day for labor. That's why.
That's slavery.
See what it says right here? It's modern day slavery. And that's exactly what it is. So I felt compelled to share this story, what I've experienced, so that other mothers can know that doing nothing is not an option. We have to fight for our sons.
But telling your story will help other mothers who deal with the same thing.
Absolutely. But the thing is, I'm no different from other mother whose son has been wrongfully incarcerated. But the difference is that I've been working in the legal field as a legal secretary for nearly 30 years. So anybody that's affiliated with the law firms know that the secretaries pretty much do the work and the lawyers present the case. So there's a lawyer inside of me that's just screaming to come out, and obviously I've been able to put the pen to the paper to bring awareness to it.
So how has other mothers in the community responded who know about your situation and of course know about the book?
Why a lot of mothers have reached out to me just saying basically that their son has been wrongfully incarcerated or that they have been fighting the criminal justice system and just asking
For years.
me,
Yes.
what can they do? And I encourage them to write their local congressmen and senators and just be consistent. Just
You have to be
never
consistent.
give up. Exactly.
Consistent.
Because this started for me in March 2016 and I'm still
Wow.
fighting. I am
March
fighting
2016.
every day. I mean, I have contacted Baltimore's mayor, the attorney general, the state's attorney, the governor, you name
Have you
it.
gotten
I've
responses
contacted
from them?
Well, the thing is, no, not really. Well, I would like to say that Senator Ben Cardin, he responded. Senator Mike Miller, he responded. Senator Elijah Cummings responded.
Congressman.
Cummings, Congressman Elijah Cummings, he responded, basically saying that it's out of his jurisdiction. Senator Cardin suggested that I contact Senator Miller, and I contacted Marilyn Mosby, the state's attorney's office, on numerous occasions. Yes, on numerous occasions. But the reality is that the state dropped the ball. They went after the wrong person, and they are adamant about continuing to hold my son, although they know that he was found not guilty of these charges back in 2017.
Yes.
During the trial, the judge added an accessory after the fact charge, right? Which I didn't agree with, but it took those murder charges off the table, and the jury came back and convicted him.
So this is evidence that wasn't brought up in the trial?
Right. Well, see, the thing is, my son, he professed his innocence from day one, and I have stood by him. We went to trial. Again, I was just appalled during the trial that they had no DNA evidence linking him. The medical examiner testified that the person responsible would have had blood on them because the young man bled out and the blood gushed out on him. So they had my son's entire outfit the day in question, from his shoes to his pants and everything. They didn't find any traces, nothing.
DNA evidence whatsoever?
None. And so that means that they could have and very well should have dropped the charges after that, because they sent everything to forensics and it came back negative.
I don't understand.
I mean, but because it was a conspiracy from day one. For instance, the state showed a video of a car fleeing the scene off the campus, right? And they never obtained a search warrant for it. Now, my son testified that he was a passenger in that car with 4 other guys, but they never obtained a search warrant for the car. Why secure the crime scene if you're not going to? They had a search warrant for my car in PG County, but they didn't have a search warrant for the car that was caught on surveillance fleeing the scene. So
I don't understand that. And they have it on camera?
Let me tell you, they had the audacity to show the video at the trial. They showed the video of the car fleeing the scene. My son testified. So when our lawyer asked, "Well, did you obtain a search warrant for the car that you just showed fleeing the scene?" The detective said no. I didn't think it was necessary.
Why wouldn't it be necessary?
Why wouldn't it be? It's fleeing the scene of a crime. Right, so it boils down to
look like to me that'd have been the first thing.
Exactly.
You'd have checked out.
They dropped the ball, and they focused on my son solely. For instance, there were 4 other guys in the car. No one went to trial but my son. They threatened the other boys in the car and said, basically, if you testify on his behalf, then we will charge you with accessory after the fact. So it's just, I mean, and the thing is that
the criminal justice system.
Criminal justice system, particularly in Baltimore. Like 2 guys one guy was released in May and one guy was released in July after doing like 15 years, and the other one was doing did 20 years, and then they've been exonerated. So it's just mind-boggling.
Knowing and dealing with all this, how did the book come about? How the creative process worked for you? I know part of it was pain.
It was so painful because, first of all, the first year I was so consumed with it that I was angry, and I was just so angry, and I just wanted my son home. So after the first year, then I'm like, okay, God, use me. What do you want me to do in this moment? So at that point, I started to trust the process. Because the first year I was rushing the process.
Yes.
So the second year I started trusting the process. And I woke up about 3 o'clock one morning, and the Holy Spirit said, write a book. And I remember sitting up in my bed just crying, saying, you want me to write about this, Lord? You want me to write about this? Because it was so painful.
This was like a year later?
This was a year later, right.
Wow.
So, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you want me to write about it, God? And I'm just...
But that's helping to cleanse your spirit.
Right, exactly. So then I'm like, okay. So that morning I'm like, okay. So then I started putting the pen to the paper, and because my daughter and I, we went to trial. My daughter and I, we went to trial. To the trial, it was 4 days, and we took notes throughout the trial. So I was able to use those notes and start writing my chapters.
Well, now let me say to those who may be just tuning in, we're talking to author Linda Robinson and her beautiful book, though painful it may be, above ground. I'm sorry.
The above ground
railroad. The above ground railroad.
Yes.
And well, that's what's been happening. They've been railroading us for years.
Oh, absolutely.
Hundreds of years.
Absolutely. That's why I thought this name would be appropriate. Appropriate for it. Absolutely.
Well, which also says that it's no longer underground in the sense of our forefathers who talked about the Underground Railroad.
Right.
But this is blatant.
Yeah, this is the above ground railroad.
Yes.
There's nothing hidden about it. It's right here in your face, and
Now, how long did it take you to? Was it hard to really start writing this book?
Yes, it was very painful. There were times that it brought me to tears because I was reliving those moments and reliving the trial, and it was just very painful. But at the same time, it was therapeutic.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Because writing can be therapeutic.
Right, exactly. It was painful, but there were times where, when I was writing that, I was just overcome with emotion, and I just cried, and I just had to come put it down and come back to it. But I knew it was necessary
to do that. Yes,
I knew it was necessary
because you know that there are other parents and other people going through the same thing. And
absolutely,
it's very painful. I'm glad you wrote it because that helps us. That helps all of us. That helps the community who may be going through the same thing.
Absolutely,
to know that you're not the only one going through it.
Exactly, and the thing about it is that there's purpose in your pain.
Yes, there's always purpose in pain.
But we have to seek that purpose. And a lot of times we focus on the pain as opposed to focusing on the purpose. So I just encourage other parents to focus on the purpose and understand that wherever their child may be, God is with them.
Yes. I'd like to share this short poem simply entitled Drenched in Black Blood. Lynched by Uncle Sam, Willie Lynch, and Jim Crow, white supremacy is drenched in black blood from head to toe, drenched in injustice.
Wow. Most appropriate.
Yeah, because that's how I feel.
That's how it is. That's how it is. And
drenched in injustice.
Right, and the thing is, that's how it's been.
That's how it's always been.
A lot of times we're oblivious to these things because it hasn't affected us.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Because I had no idea that the criminal justice system was so corrupt. Because
until you come face to face with it.
Right, exactly. Until it knocks on your door, you don't know.
Well, I think many of us in our families, if we haven't been directly involved, we all know somebody. I got a family, who's dealt with that criminal justice system in one way or another.
So, I mean, it's one thing when your child has done something that they broke the law, they have to be held accountable. That's just the way it is. But it's it's altogether different when your child is innocent. And they have been wrongfully accused, and so many elected officials turn a blind eye to it.
I get so sick and tired of seeing situations online or seeing situations in the news or reading about